And now, from PAX TV Studio 611, your host, Richard Thomas.
Good evening, and welcome to It's a Miracle. You know, there are some people who don't believe in miracles, who think that it's just good luck or coincidence at work. Well, they may be right, but they won't convince the people you're about to meet, each of whom has experienced something that they believe goes way beyond good luck and coincidence, something that they can only describe as a miracle. We begin with an incredible story of survival and a life saved thanks to a most unlikely guardian angel. In 1997, Michael Miller received a gift from his father-in-law, a bird dog that he named Sadie.
She was my first bird dog, first dog that was ever given to me. Very, very loving, very affectionate dog. If somebody's good to him, they'll be good to you.
Michael was an avid hunter, but had lately slowed down due to failing health. At first, his wife Lisa was not concerned.
We just attributed the huffing and puffing to his smoking. He's a little bit out of shape and he smokes, that's why, huffs and puffs. But that one morning, it was something a whole lot different.
On that morning, Michael woke early to go out hunting.
I woke up in the morning and I didn't really feel too well. Just thought, maybe a little nauseated, but I didn't think anything of it.
With Lisa still sound asleep, Michael quietly left the house. Once outside, he made a critical decision. Sadie would join him and another dog, Willie, on the hunt.
Let's go. I almost didn't take her, but she wanted to go real bad, so I said, all right, come on. So I grabbed the dogs and we went out behind the house like we've done 100 times before and started hunting.
After hiking about a half mile from his house, Michael suddenly felt a pain in his wrist.
I'd gotten the pain before, but whenever I stopped, it would go away. This time it didn't go away, and it got much worse. I decided I wasn't gonna hunt anymore, so I blew my whistle for the dogs. That brought on a pain in my chest that just was unbelievable.
Moments later, Sadie appeared, but the other dog was nowhere to be seen.
The last thing I wanted to do was be chasing down my dogs because I didn't feel good. So, I hooked my leash onto her and I blew the whistle for the other dog. And that brought on pain that was just crushing. I remember dropping to my knees, not able to breathe. I was in an intense amount of pain. Things were just going blurry.
Michael lost consciousness, and that's when Sadie took over.
Sadie started licking my face. She started licking my face and crying and just yelping a little bit.
But when Michael didn't get up, Sadie did something miraculous. This small 45-pound dog began pulling her 180-pound master by the thin leash connecting them. Michael crawled blindly forward with Sadie as his only guide. Delirious with pain, he would repeatedly lose consciousness, but Sadie continued to struggle, pulling him towards home.
Sadie took control. She could have pulled me any direction. I still couldn't breathe. Still felt like 100 pounds of weight on my chest. The next thing I remember, I was about halfway to the house. And I remember looking over at the neighbor's house and I was thinking, man, I'm not gonna make it. And this is the last thing I'm gonna see.
The dramatic conclusion when It's a Miracle continues. While out hunting early one morning, Michael Miller experienced a severe pain in his wrist, followed by a crippling constriction in his chest that brought him to his knees. Moments later, he was unconscious, and that's when his bird dog Sadie went into action. She began pulling him by the leash that was connected to his waist and her collar.
I guess God just guided her, told her what she needed to do, and she did it.
After more than an hour of struggling, Sadie and Michael arrived at the edge of the yard, but they were too exhausted to go any farther. Lisa was still asleep inside the house, unaware that her husband was lying in pain nearby.
I was just laying there on my back, so I fired off a couple shots with the shotgun, hoping that she would think, man, that was awfully close to the house. She never even looked out the window.
I didn't hear anything. And that really scares me because he could have laid right out there, right in the backyard, and I would never have known.
Sadie must have realized that help was not on the way, for once again, she went into action.
Sadie started pulling me some more, and she pulled me down to the back door, and I caught my breath.
I got up. I heard something at the door, like somebody had leaned up against it.
Opened up the door, and there was Lisa standing there.
What's wrong, sweetie?
Please call 911.
He said something was wrong and I needed to call an ambulance. And I told him to come in and sit down. You know, he was crazy, he was fine. He sat down and he couldn't catch his breath.
Okay.
And then he got to where he couldn't breathe. And then I called 911.
Michael was rushed to a local hospital where he continued to fade in and out of consciousness.
I remember coming to and asking the doctor, saying, what's wrong with me? He says, you're having a heart attack. And I went, oh, you mean I had a heart attack? He goes, no, you're having one right now.
Michael's condition would require immediate surgery, and so he was transferred to St. Thomas Hospital in Nashville, where he was treated by cardiologist Dr. Dante Graves.
Hello, Mrs. Miller. Hi, I'm Dr. Graves.
We found he had a very significant blockage in the LAD artery. That's the artery that runs down the front part of the heart and covers about 60% of the heart muscle. So it's a massive heart attack in the making.
Miss Miller? Yes. I'm taking you to see your husband now. Okay.
They came in and said, would we like to see him before we went in for surgery?
Mrs. Miller, there's been a change of plans. You're not going to be able to see your husband.
You said that I could see him before the surgery.
We were walking down the hall, fixing to go tell him bye and everything.
He's in OR now.
And they said, no, you can't, because we had to go ahead and take him in.
His condition is a little worse than we first thought. He's having a triple bypass.
When the doctors realized that his condition could not be cured by angioplasty, he was rushed into emergency open heart surgery.
As soon as we know his condition, we'll come and let you know. All right?
I thought I was going to lose him. I couldn't imagine going on without him. Without him, I could not make it. He's my whole universe. He's everything.
Well, Mrs. Miller,
Oh, yes.
are you ready for some good news?
Yes.
Your husband did just fine.
Oh,
he
thank
came
God.
through just fine.
After 6 hours of intensive surgery, doctors were able to successfully repair Michael's heart. According to Dr. Graves, Michael had made it to the hospital in the nick of time.
Thank you so much. Oh.
It's called a widowmaker, the lesion he had, and it's for a good reason. A high majority don't make it to the hospital, so he's very lucky that his dog and his family and that everything flowed the way it did.
It's a miracle. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The fact that he had Sadie with him and that she knew what she needed to do and had the strength and the willpower to do it is a miracle in itself. He realizes what happened and how close he came. If she hadn't have been there, he wouldn't be here today.
It's hard to explain how I feel about that dog, because I just love her to death. Every time I look at my children, I think that they need me. This family needs me. And God made sure I stayed here, and he gave that little dog the power to get me here. I can't tell you why she did it. I can't tell you how she did it. All I can tell you is that she did it, and that's a miracle.
That's just amazing. My dog wouldn't even roll over for a steak bone. Well, we wanted to find out how Sadie and the Miller family were doing. So now, they join us from their home in Bethpage, Tennessee. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Well, the little fella doesn't seem quite as enthusiastic about being on the show as the rest of you.
You gonna say hi?
That's okay, don't worry about it.
You gonna say hi?
Say hi.
So, Michael, why don't you introduce everybody?
Well, this is my son Kyle, my daughter Chelsea, and our dog Sadie.
Well, I hope she's telling Sadie to face the camera. She's a big celebrity now. I heard that she just recently won the 1999 Dog Hero of the Year award. She must mean the world to you.
She's pretty special. She means a lot to me. She means a lot to the whole family. If it hadn't have been for her, I wouldn't be sitting here, so I imagine she means a whole bunch.
I think it's made us appreciate each other a lot more, and it's definitely made us realize that it's really important to spend time together as a family and not stress on the small things.
So how are you feeling now, Michael?
Words couldn't explain how grateful I am. I have 2 wonderful children, a wonderful wife, another child on the way, and my life has never been this good.
Well, that's great to hear. It's been wonderful talking to you, and I want to thank you all for joining us.
Well, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.